Joining us tonight, Shai Franklin, Middle East analyst and partner at Gotham Government Relations. Thanks for joining us, Shai. Good to see you. There's been quite a bit of backlash to the Prime Minister's annexation announcement, including rocket fire from Gaza, to which the IDF retaliated. Does all of this help, though, or hurt the Prime Minister's chances of re-election?
I don't think that this latest back and forth from Gaza is directly related to the Prime Minister's announcement. It doesn't really rise above the level that we normally see, unfortunately. It's become the new normal, maybe even the old normal. I think the reaction around the Arab world may come as a surprise to people who've been listening only to Prime Minister Netanyahu. But the Arab leaders, the Arab governments have never said that they're willing to give up on the Palestinian issue, or that they're willing to give up on Jerusalem, which is, of course, sacred to Muslims, not just to Palestinians. So does this help Netanyahu's election chances? I think the announcement can't hurt. It may make him look a little shallow and opportunistic. It's not that different from what he said several months ago, actually. But for his base, it makes it more immediate for them. What it might do, actually, beyond the elections, is it could compromise his and President Trump's diplomacy vis-a-vis Iran, because it'll be harder to convince the Europeans that Israel and the United States are team players.
Shai, the Prime Minister is set to meet Russia's President Vladimir Putin in Sochi. How important is the timing of this trip, and do you expect that Netanyahu will actually get any pushback from Putin on the issue of annexation?
He might get some pushback, but I think it's understood that this is really to help Netanyahu in the election. And I think from President Putin's perspective, if any Jew has to be, or any Israeli has to be Prime Minister of Israel, it might as well be Netanyahu. They have a good working relationship. I think his bigger concern beyond the election in meeting with Putin is going to be Syria more than anything else, possibly Iran as well.
Specifically regarding annexation, Saudi Arabia is just among the Gulf states that has been sounding off on this. They call the annexation plan a dangerous escalation. The UN is weighing in. UN Chief Antonio Guterres warns such a move would violate international law. Will it?
Yeah, it'll violate international law. The annexation of the Golan Heights violated international law, which is why the United States didn't recognize it for over 30 years. Until President Trump recognized it on behalf of the United States. That's why no country in recent memory had moved its embassy to Jerusalem. So that doesn't mean that Prime Minister Netanyahu is going to be sent to The Hague in chains, but it is a violation of international law. Now, the Israeli settlers could say it's not a violation of international law, and they could point to this and that, but if the United Nations and the various international bodies, including the parties to the Geneva Convention, determine that something is a violation of international law, and it looks in the books in the Geneva Conventions that it is a violation of international law, that makes it a violation of international law. It's like going to the Supreme Court. If the Supreme Court says something is unconstitutional, it's unconstitutional.
Shai Franklin, appreciate your time as always.